We're apparently made of money now, as these are the budgets we've been given for this season. We also have last year's Turkish Cup top scorer Atakan Inan returning from his loan, so he's about to form the most insane striker duo with last year's European Golden Shoe and Super League Player of the Season winner, all under the management of the manager of the season, Burak Yilmasmåen. Wow, we've actually developed one of the best academies in the world.
Well. How the turntables...
4 of our players have also been called up to represent Turkey at the Euros, so that's even more of a testament to our work in the academy. Our title rivals for the last 2 seasons have just lost their manager to retirement, as Abdullah Avci has retired, and they've hired Cesc Fabregas as his replacement. Wow! I did not expect that. Before the season started, I did think about signing Umut Şahin back to the club, as I think it's allowed when it's a player who's come through the youth ranks at the club, but is not interested at all. So we head into the season with the same squad as last season. We started by losing 2-0 to Trabzonspor in the Turkish Super Cup final. So our first meeting with Fabregas' Trabzonspor wasn't the best.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
But we started the league season with a win. A 1-0 win over Göztepe as Yorulmaz got his first goal of the season in his first game. We then smashed Igdir 3-0 as Duran, Yorulmaz and Hüseyin got one each in a brilliant first half. Before we also beat Galatasaray 3-0. Amorcan got the first and Yorulmaz got the 2 others. Before we head into the first UCL game, we just about beat Antalyaspor 4-3. Erkan got a brace late on to turn it around from 3-2 to them to 4-3 to us. We've now got Red Bull Leipzig away in the opening game of our UCL campaign. And we could say that the team talk didn't exactly go as planned. But that didn't matter actually, as Topatar scored with this brilliant finish 3 minutes in. An offside goal from Amorcan, and then a decent save from Bayram followed, before Xavi Simons equalized it for them in the 61st. Atakan Inan then failed in his one simple job, staying onside, as he scored this offside goal. So we draw 1-1, quite a strong result to be honest.
You had one job. Just the one?
Gurgul and Amorcan got a goal each in our next game as we beat Hatayspor 2-0. We then headed into our second UCL game, at home against Slavia Prague. Yorulmaz scored 4 minutes in, after a great team attack. Erkan then scored with this insane finish 12 minutes later to double it. Before Yorulmaz scored his second 5 minutes after that again. And then he got his hat-trick in the 80th. And he scored again 3 minutes later to make it 5. So we hammer Slavia Prague 5-0, as Yorulmaz got 4 goals. As we return to the league, we somehow only managed to get a 1-1 draw with Adana Demirspor. We then just about won 1-0 against Ankara Gucu thanks to a goal from Amorcan, before we drew 0-0 with flipping Pendikspor. And Amorcan also got injured against Pendikspor, so he's out for a month. We hit back with a 3-0 win over Başakşehir, as Duran, Ekmen and Atakan Inan got one each. And then we just about won 2-1 against Sivasspor, as we mounted a late comeback with goals from Erkan and Gurgul. That means we're in second after 10 games played. We're a point behind Fenerbahce as they've won 9 out of 10 games, compared to our 8 wins and 2 draws. So the unbeaten team, us, is behind them, who've lost a game.
Whoa, we're close now.
We're now playing Lens away. Right before the break, Reis scored this rebound from Diarra's post-it. And then Selemes gave away this pen in the 67th. But Bayram saves it. We couldn't create anything though, so we lose completely deservedly 1-0 as they somehow only scored once from over 3 XG. And now it's time for our game against Arsenal at home. Their manager Xabi Alonso has also just claimed us an easy opponent, so this is a juicy one. Nothing happened until the 55th, where Duran put in a low cross which no one met, but then Ekmen put in a cross of his own, which Yorulmaz scored from. 20 minutes later, Garcia missed this big chance from a corner, as he headed it wide. And that was it. We beat Arsenal 1-0. That's a real statement win. And piss off Xabi Alonso. Back to the league, we simply continue our incredible run. We win 1-0 against Rizespor thanks to this goal from Duran. We then beat Besiktas 2-1 as Amorcan and Yorulmaz got one each. Before he smashed Keçiören Gucu 3-0 as Gurgul got a brace. We then hammered Kocaelispor 5-1 as Erkan got a brace this time, before beating both Kasimpasa and Konyaspor 2-1 as Yorulmaz got 3 goals in those 2 games. Our winning run did come to an end though. We drew 0-0 with Samsunspor in a dull game, and then we drew 1-1 with Trabzonspor. Atakan Inan got our goal as we came back from 1-0 down. An insane game against Fenerbahce followed, where they got a 2-0 lead in 6 minutes. We got one back in the 15th through Songul, but then they scored basically straight from kickoff. Yorulmaz got another one back in the 20th, before the same man conceded a pen. But Bayram saved it again! Straight from kickoff in the second half, we missed a pen of our own, and then Aldogan got a straight red 3 minutes later. So they made it 4-2, before Denizli scored a pen for us, but then Szymanski scored to make it 5-3. So we lose our very first game of the season, and it's against one of our title rivals as well.
Hey, what happened?
That means we're in second at the halfway point, a point behind Fenerbahce because of losing against them. We have had an insane season so far though, so hopefully we can get back to that form shortly. During that insane run in the league, the youth intake preview also came in, which was rather average to be honest. We got a B at AM and a C at CM, and otherwise it's pretty bad. But a positive from our youth academy is that Cem Aldogan has just won the European Golden Boy, a year after Yorulmaz won it, so Yeni Malatyaspor has won it 2 years in a row. It's time to return to European football, the final 4 league phase games. We start at home against Real Sociedad, where the first thing happened in the 79th. Gurgul scored with this great finish off the post to give us the lead. But as I thought we'd secured a huge win, Hussein scored an own goal, so we draw 1-1. Next up is Partizan Belgrade away, which we should win easily. We dominated the game, but I wouldn't say we won easily. Yorulmaz got us the lead early, before Ekmen doubled it pretty late on, in the 84th. They got one back in the 88th, but nothing else happened, so we won 2-1. The second to last UCL League phase game is at home against Juventus. They took the lead early, through Kenan Yildiz. Yorulmaz then scored an offside goal pretty late on, 10 minutes before Aldogan scored with his nice finish. And as Atakan Inan missed this big chance and Bayram pulled off this incredible save, we draw 1-1 with Juve. And the final one, away to Liverpool, I'd rather not talk about. We lost 4-0, there you go. You happy now? Back to the league, we beat Igdir 2-0 as Söylemes and Atakan Inan got one each. Before we beat Göztepe 2-1 as well, as Atakan Inan got another 2 goals. We then beat Galatasaray 3-0 as Erkan got a brace and Atakan Inan got yet another goal.
Nah, he's on fire right now. Keep going.
And as he's been on fire, he's just won the Player of the Month for January. Before heading into the UCL knockout playoff round, we've got 3 games. The first one is in the cup against Kocaelispor. But before that, I need to tell you about the previous round. We faced our own reserve team. By the way, the reason for why that's possible is that I made a little mistake while making the database, as I made our reserve team eligible for the Turkish Cup somehow. But either way, we beat them 9-0. And then we also handled Kocaelispor pretty easily, as we beat them 2-1 thanks to goals from our 2 super strikers, Atakan Inan and Yorulmaz. The other 2 games before UCL football was a strange 1-0 loss to Antalyaspor and then a 4-0 hammering of Hatayspor. We've been drawn Napoli in the knockout playoff round, which is a tough tie, but one we absolutely could win considering our results in Europe this season. Their goalie started the game with a great save from Hussein's header. Just under 20 minutes later though, their goalie couldn't keep it out for any longer, as Yorulmaz scored from Aldogan's pass through. Half an hour later, in the 65th, Duran scored to double our lead. Duran! So we get a brilliant result to take with us to Naples. They opened the second leg with a post hit from Salazar, not even a minute in, before we actually took the lead 4 minutes later. Jonathan David then equalized the game for them 15 minutes later. In the second half, Akarslan got a big block. before Lucas Ramos got them the lead and only one goal away from tying it up on aggregate. But we held on to win 3-2 on aggregate to get through to the round of 16 for the first time ever. Before that round of 16, we humiliated Adana Demirspor 6-0. Atakan Inan, Aldogan, Akarslan, Yorulmaz and Ekmen with a brace got our 6 goals. We then won very deservedly 1-0 against Pendikspor in the Turkish Cup quarters as Atakan Inan scored yet again. And finally we won 1-0 against Ankara Gucu as well as the same man scored once again. And you're probably shaking with excitement on who we've got in the round of 16. It's Real Madrid. Nah, man. I guess we have to make the most of it. And we actually do. Yorulmaz scored 4 minutes into the first leg. And then Erkan doubled it in the 41st. They obviously got one back before the break though, through Vinny. But as Songol got this huge block, we actually win 2-1 at home in the first leg. But we all know what can happen at the Bernabeu. Before that, we hammered Pendikspor 4-0 as Gurgol got a brace. And then the youth intake came through. And as the preview showed, not a lot of good players. So we'll just focus on the UCL. Nothing happened in the first half of the second leg. But 20 minutes into the second half, the first warning sign came, as Bellingham missed this good chance. And the same man got tackled by Hussein less than 10 minutes later. So they got a pen, which Bellingham put away to equalize it on aggregate. 8 minutes later though, we got a free kick, which was whipped into Duran, who flicked it into Akarslan's path, and he scores with a header to get us the lead. And with that we're through, as we've beaten Real Madrid. Let's go! We went back to the league with that confidence, as we beat Başakşehir 2-0, Sivasspor 5-2, and Rizespor 6-0. 6-0! Which means that we've moved into first with 8 games to go. We're a single point ahead of Trabzonspor and 5 points ahead of Fenerbahce. We've somehow managed to only lose 2 games all season long, so we definitely have a great chance of winning the title once again. Yorulmaz has also just won the next gen for the 2nd year running. And Atakan Inan is in 3rd as well, so we've genuinely built one of the absolute best academies in the world.
Maybe someone's don't like me because maybe I'm too good.
Before our historic quarterfinal, we beat Besiktas 4-2 as Atakan Inan got a bloody hat-trick. Wow, this guy has turned up this season. We've got f***ing Man City in the quarters though. Nah, these draws, man. Well, if we can get an alright result at Etihad in the first leg, then we actually have a chance. Haaland is also out with an injury by the way, so we don't have to deal with that in Nobed. The opening 20 minutes was like pure hell for us, as they had big chance on big chance. Eventually, Echeverry made it 1-0 though. They kept missing chances. Before Gvardiol hit the bar with his header, and Ansu Fati scored the rebound. An offside goal from Yorulmaz followed, before we actually got one back, which is so important for the second leg. So we lose 2-1 in the first leg, and we have a huge task ahead of us in Turkey. As if our schedule wasn't packed enough, we had to play Keçiören and Gucu before the second leg. We did beat them 3-0 though, as Erkan got a brace. And now it's time for the home leg. We conceded first. Brilliant. Yorulmaz got one back for us to make it a 1-0 game again though, right before the break. And right after it, Konda handballed in his own box. So we got a pen, which Aldogan steps up to take. And he scores! So it's tied on aggregate now. Just 3 minutes later, Duran somehow missed this as he hit the bar. Not a lot happened for the rest of the half. But in the 94th, Omurcan got the ball from Topatar. He went with the ball for a while, before squaring it for Atakan Inan to tap in. But they've got a corner now. Rodrigo whips it in, but Soilemes cuts it off before it gets to any of their players. He then plays it to Omurcan, who has a gaping half and goal ahead of him since their goalie went up for the corner. So he scores on a wide open goal to get us through to the semis. Oh my days. Wow. Before said semis, we beat Kocaelispor 1-0 thanks to Erkan getting the goal. As well as Kasimpasa 2-0 with Atakan Inan and Songol getting one each. We also drew 1-1 in the first leg of the semi-final in the Turkish Cup against Trabzonspor, so we're really fighting on all fronts. It's incredible. We would enter in the semi-final, the biggest game in our history. We start off brilliantly, as Yilmaz opens the scoring from Aldogan's pass through 29 minutes in. Amorcan then missed this huge chance in the 50th, before Pafundi scored with this outrageous finish to equalize. But straight from kickoff, Yilmaz gets his second to get us back in front. So we win 2-1 in the first leg to make our trip to the San Siro a bit easier. In said second leg, Porcelli hit the bar half an hour in. Moretti then unfortunately scored this in the 73rd. So it's going to extra time as nothing else happened in normal time. 7 minutes into extra time though, a highlight appeared. Atakan Inan plays it out wide to Duran, but he gets tackled, so it goes even further wide. That doesn't matter though. Duran claims back the ball, plays it to Atakan Inan, who plays it back to Duran. And he scores with a great finish to get us the win! Duran is on my mind, and his yen is fine dined. Let's go! We're through to the flipping final! And it's the legend Duran that's got us there. I think the packed schedule is starting to get to us though, as we draw with Konyaspor and then lose to Samsunspor. So all of a sudden, we're tied on points with Trabzonspor. And now we've got exactly Trabzonspor twice in 4 days. We start by losing completely deservedly 1-0 in the second leg of the semi-final in the Turkish Cup, as Markoyo got their goal. So we're out of that competition now. Now it's time for the game that really matters though, the league game. If we win this, we've won the title for the 3rd year running. Ekman opened the scoring for us 28 minutes in. Bayram then got a good save, before Servet hit the post for them. And in the 85th, Atakan Inan scored to double our lead and get us the 2-0 win. So we win the title once again. But we don't get a trophy lift once again either. So let's use the one from 2 years ago, I guess. If you're wondering, we lost our final league game 4-2 against Fenerbahce. So we actually win the league being tied on points with Trabzonspor, as we beat them in our second to last game. Now though, it's time for the UEFA Champions League final. The biggest game in our history, and a difficult one at that. We're facing PSG, and if we can shut down Lamine Yamal and Mathys Tel, then we have a great chance, as they have 4 key players out injured. We start in the most insane fashion, as Aldogan scored 2 minutes in. Right before the break, Tel hit the post from this free kick, and then we got a huge block to deny Kangin Lee of a tap-in. As I went more and more defensive throughout the game, Atakan Inan fucked it up for us in the 74th, as he pushed Ignosi in our box to get them a pen. João Neves steps up to take it, and he misses as Bayram saves. Gurgul then played Erkan through 10 minutes later, and the latter scored to double our lead. So we win 2-0 against PSG to win the UEFA Champions League! We've finally done it! We've won the biggest trophy in all of Europe. An absolutely incredible season comes to an end, alongside this series coming to an end. It's been a journey from out of this world, all the way from the Turkish 3rd tier to European champions, while only using our youth academy. That's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching and supporting. It means the absolute world to me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.